morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're coming from to join us today for our monthly webinar. My name is Brandon Savage, and this month's installment of our webinar focuses on how to win with AI, looking at moving from an AI vendor to an AI value partner for 10x returns. We're going to kick things off today by doing some introductions of who's going to be guiding today's discussion. As I said, my name is Brandon Savage. I'm the head of solution enablement here at Vosic AI. We are excited to hear once again from our chief data scientist, Dr. Vasu Akula, who will be doing the bulk of our message today. But before I turn things over to Vasu, let me just kind of set the stage for our topic today. As we look out over the last 2 years since ChatGPT really came on the scene and generative AI became a thing, we're seeing many examples in the corporate world of how AI is getting applied and often misapplied. Last week, this article showed up that shows some of the risk associated with deploying AI. Bank fires workers in favor of AI chatbot, rehires them after chatbot is terrible at the job. This type of incident isn't isolated. Even industry leaders are asking pretty hard questions about the AI hype cycle. Here's what Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, said recently in an interview with The Verge. Are we in an AI bubble? His answer was, my opinion is yes. He then went on to elaborate. He said, when bubbles happen, smart people get excited and overexcited about a kernel of truth. If you look at most of the bubbles in history, like the tech bubble, there was a real thing. Tech was really important. The internet was a really big deal. People got overexcited. Now, are we in a phase right now where investors as a whole are overexcited about AI? My opinion is yes, he said. Is AI the most important thing to happen in a very long time? He said, my opinion is also yes. So opinion is one thing. Evidence is better. Let's look at the data on the most common reason that AI efforts are missing the mark in the corporate world. 95% of AI projects have failed, despite $30 to $40 billion of enterprise investment. Just 5% of integrated AI pilots are extracting millions in value, while the vast majority remain stuck with no measurable P&L impact. This divide doesn't seem to be driven by the quality of the model or regulation, but seems to be determined by the company's approach to how to deploy AI. And although this report focuses specifically on Gen AI, we've seen a similar pattern in all AI implementations. In fact, Gartner and McKinsey have reported similar findings. So the question then becomes, what's different when it works? And here's what success looks like in practice with operators that are in your industry or other related industries. We've had the opportunity to work with a handful of companies and all of our companies that we partner with have seen tremendous success with deploying AI. $30 million of customer lifetime value added, 20 million, 100 million. Being able to see value in a very short period of time. And it's not just our customers that are saying this. There's third-party recognition for how this approach is showing up in the real world. This year, Vosic AI received the 2025 CMS Wire Impact Award in the category of Best Use of AI in Customer Experience. They recognize that the way that we approach our solution results in significant value. Now, awards are nice, but the engine that's behind these results is what matters the most. And the common thread is how we partner to be able to deliver value. We achieve these results by forging a partnership for success with subscription business leaders like you. That's what we believe is one of the key elements to yielding value. It's not just dropping the software on you and letting you try it for yourself. It's the partnership we are committed to from an advisory role in order to help ensure that you succeed. So with that foundation, I'm going to pass things over to Vasu to walk through this approach in detail, how we reduce churn, how we lift price yield, and how we operationalize it with a very light lift on your part. So Vasu.
Yeah, thank you, Bag. This is like exciting report, right? Because we have been doing AI models for more than 10 years. And both Brandon and myself, and probably some of you on the call, maybe you have seen the hype cycles of .com, maybe even mobile in its early days, right? Is mobile app the replacement for everything, or cloud, when it was 10 years ago, all of that. And AI is projected to be even bigger than any of that. But so it's exciting to see, the technology taking shape, but it's unfortunate also to realize that maybe, there is a lot of money being spent and not everyone is kind of generating the huge value that is promised from this technology, right? So what I want to do in the next, let's say 5 minutes or 10 minutes is what we believe is contributing to the 5% who are generating outstanding success, and what, the 95% who are challenged, could be doing differently from our own experience, right? Adding to MIT research. So what we are seeing here, so that same report is also highlighting companies purchasing AI tools from vendors are succeeding 2/3 of the time, compared to internal builds are succeeding only 1/3 of the time, right? So this is another data point on top of what Brandon shared, 95 to 5. Even if we kind of peel this within the successful projects, right? So there is, partnering with vendors versus trying to do this in-house. So that looked like a very, very interesting observation. And we wanted to kind of, as vendors, of course, we love this insight, right? But I want to take a neutral approach to think and reason for why this might be the case, right? So 95/5 and then 2/3 and 1/3, right? Let's kind of reason for why this might be happening with our own data on top of MIT data, right? And hopefully this will give you, one or two takeaways as you realize the potential of AI and look for ways to operationalize that for yourself. So we have been speaking with, we bootstrapped about 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Since then, we have been focused on subscription recurring revenue businesses. Some of you on the call, you belong to those industries. The business model is fantastic. We can generate tens of millions of dollars that Brandon talked about. But there is a common thread that we are identifying. When we speak with these leaders, these questions are coming up over and over. How do we ensure timely launch? How do we align different teams? How do we manage the change? How do we drive actions once AI predicts certain things? Now, if we move to the right side, how do we generate buy-in? How do we generate, business case? How do we present insights and all these things, right? So we're categorizing this into either these questions can be grouped together as execution challenges or collaboration challenges, whether it is, within the same team, a CMO is managing, or it is across the teams between CMO, CFO, COO. If we can navigate these changes, we know that we are able to generate that 5%, the, gigantic ROI that everyone is talking about, which is the potential of AI. But not everyone is successful in navigating this. So we had like multiple calls in-house about how, when the world is struggling with 95% not working and 5% working, how come we could implement this? And what is it that we learned that is translating into most of our projects successfully ending on the 5% side, generating tens of millions of dollars? And we came out with these 4 as potential reasons, right? Even MIT's report is aligned with one of their observations is if you have purpose-built, right, technology, that is proven to be more often ending up on the success side and things like that. So I'm going to unpack each of these things. So, but our categorization is it's important to have purpose-built technology. it's also important to have the expertise, someone who has done it before, probably, kind of defending the point about like vendors are succeeding more often than internal build. Maybe internal teams are doing this, for the first time compared to vendors who are doing this over and over. If we move to the number 3, MIT report is also concluding that more than the technology itself, it's what to do with it, right? The methodology, the approach is even more important in generating the success. We are calling that process and playbooks. And finally, this is our own observation. AI has enormous potential. The projects that are starting with small thoughts, like let me build a model, kind of test this. Can we score these customers? Can we identify, potential cancellations, potential sales? All of that is fine. But unless we think about this in a bigger way, they're not also, a proof of concept is fine, but they're not translating all of this into, millions of dollars of AI potential, right? So these 4 categories. So what I'm going to do, I will take, 3 minutes for each of these topics. I'm going to just, go a little deeper into each of these, share our viewpoints, and then I'll summarize this, right? So that's the plan. So now if we go with the number 1 thing, platform or technology, or more important, purpose-built technology, right? So what we have noticed is almost every CRM that we can think of, even currently or 5 years from now, absolutely no question, it is going to have some AI component. Our observation is everyone, your sales tools are implementing AI, your CRM tools are implementing AI, even your satisfaction survey tools are implementing AI. On top of it, you might be thinking about internal AI, right? So on any of the data source blocks on the left side, you can think of AI. What we found the most successful is take the data from each of these and make the AI better than any one of these CRM. Any CRM can do, any sales can do, any marketing can do, any satisfaction survey can do, or even some of this data is available through third-party data sources. Any of those can do. Now, theoretically, that should, if we can take the data from all of these, then we build intelligence on top of any of one of these can build. Technically, that will be, the best AI that you could be building, which is what we chose to do. Instead of replacing any of these systems, what we are doing is we are taking data from each of these data sources, do the scores back in the cloud, and then put it back into your operational systems. That approach proved to be very, very successful because common sense is saying that if you can take data from CRM, data from satisfaction survey, data from your marketing tools, then it should be bigger than any of those individual things, right? So that approach worked very well for us. So something for you to think about. Right now, using that, we're able to create, for every individual customer, we're able to create, very, very high resolution risk profile or lead profile or upgrade or, retention profiles, create microsegmentation, help you with targeted campaigns, and put all of this intelligence back into your satisfaction surveys, back into your lead scoring systems, back into your call center operations, back into your email marketing, right? So that's what we were able to do. So purpose-built technology, MIT report is highlighting that, and we 100% agree with that. That is the approach that was working because we tried many other approaches 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago that were not yielding these types of results. But recently, as we integrated with more systems, the AI becomes stronger and the results became stronger for all of our customers. That's point 1. Right. So now let's switch to the people part or the expertise part, right? So MIT's report is highlighting that it's not about the quality, it's about the know-how, right? So how do you get that know-how if you are implementing this for the first time? We tried various approaches, and the approach that is working very well for us is have a single point of contact for our customer. Any implementation, there is a transformation lead, who's an experienced person. Instead of you trying to hire or you trying to train that resource in-house, we're able to assign that resource to you. And then that resource brings, the necessary data scientist, necessary data engineer, necessary, IT, data analyst, finance resources, marketing resources, whatever it is, right? So that is how we are operating. So the transformation lead is the single point of contact for our customers. or a partner for of success for you, and then we'll bring the necessary resources. Now, the point that I want to emphasize here is many of the failed implementations on the 95% side, they're missing the point that, oh, I have a great data scientist, he built a model, but that's not translating into real success, because true operationalization really requires financial modeling, operational data integrations, right? Financial assessment, understanding, why it works, why it doesn't work, all of that. Maybe that geek data scientist might be great in building the models, but is failing in operations, right? So the success is only happening when we have an integration of all these resources coming together, dedicated and working on the single task. That is when tens of millions of dollars of value is being created. But if we try to, if any of our, if you try to implement this in-house, think about the cost of a data scientist, let's say 150K, data engineer, another 150K, data analyst, another 150K. By the time you talk about 6 to 8 team members working together, you are already spending more than $1 million recurring cost every year, right? With our approach, we're able to assign the resource and pull on-demand resources who have done it before, and we have proved that the cost versus benefit is already 5x or 10x, right? So this approach of bringing expertise and also using fractional resources who have done it before with a dedicated, transformation lead is absolutely proven to be cost effective, and more than cost effective is guaranteeing success on the scale of tens of millions, right? So that's another thing that we found. And these resources, because they have done it before, they bring templates of how to orient the customer, prepare the customer, identifying the low-hanging opportunities, developing the business case, sharing the insights, analyzing the results, optimizing the program, right? All of this is proven to be part of like how to generate, that real potential of AI, not just get stuck with, we built a model, but, it's not helping us, right? So that's the 95 versus, 5 split, right? So now let's go to the third point, right? It's the process or the playbooks. This is my favorite part. And the reason for that is everyone is talking about let's implement AI and let's go live yesterday, right? They're all talking about number 4, or maybe in some cases even number 5. Let's actually do this AI in all the customer touch points. Why not, website? Why not mobile app? Why not call center? Why not marketing? Why not sales? All on day one, right? And we found that to be a formula for disaster, right? And what we found working very, very well, especially for scaling, especially for making this like big and not leave this as a laptop project or a one-off initiative, is going through these 5 steps in that particular order. Why that is important is if we miss the maturity assessment, if we miss the fact that our marketing leader has already implemented this wonderful data warehouse that is collecting all the lead data and all of that, and we bypassed that without that maturity assessment and went into some other data source without the knowledge, full awareness of the CMO, or maybe a CFO who might have invested in something else, or maybe a COO who might have invested in some other thing. If we don't bring all these leaders together, understand the current state, understand the gaps, and only fill those gaps, a little bit later, what is happening is now one of these other leaders who have already invested years and years in building their warehouses is saying, hey, AI is working, but let's restart. I want this to be using my single version of truth, right? The way to avoid that is bring all of them together, do a maturity assessment, do a gap assessment, and then everyone is aligned. Then build the biggest possible business case, right? Have a quick hit opportunities, start small, and then you can always make this like very, very big. And we have examples that I'm going to share shortly. But when we go through these 5 steps, it is often gets everyone excited, gets everyone aligned. Even when we start small, then everyone is saying, hey, by the way, this is more like a pilot, proof of concept. Once we do this, we're now going to get into more use cases and more channels of customer communication, all of that. Everybody's winning, right? Regardless of where that initial quick launch happens, right? So we are a fan of this 5-step process. It works, and in fact, like we ran multiple webinars with many of the C-level leaders sharing why this is such an important thing for them, right? So people and process. right? This is allowing us to go through, what reports you have, what data sources you have. Even in some cases, maybe there are some predictions that are proven to be accurate, and all we need to do is prescriptions or driving those actions, right? So it just allows us to cross that chasm between what is done in the past to how to leverage all these predictive and prescriptive capabilities and all of that, right? So that's another proven point. And finally, when we do this right, these are examples of Aptiv generating $30 million of lifetime value increase, Brinks generating $100 million of CLV increase, FriendPoint generating $20 million of lifetime value increase, and ADT, biggest of all, $500 million or $500 million of CLV increase. What is very, very interesting is there is a common pattern that you see from all these C-level leaders. These are top-down initiatives, which is again, when you do the maturity assessment, when you do the business case right, you quickly get the sponsorship from either a CFO or a CMO or a COO or someone at a high enough level to orchestrate all of this type of change, right? So we're happy to share these success stories and also share the number one, purpose-built technology. Number two, it's the expertise. Number three, it's the process. When you go through all of that, this is what we are getting. Now, one common thread that I wanted to highlight with each of these is they followed a disciplined, think big, but start small. And I want to emphasize that why that is the case is AI has the potential to help you get more customers at lower cost. AI has the potential for you to retain more customers. AI has the potential for you to optimize your prices. AI has the potential for you to upgrade your systems, add on sales, right? So there are, even cancel customer winbacks and all of this. AI has the potential for all of that. But let's just say there are 5 important things AI will help your business, right? So that's 5. But AI can be implemented in your marketing, email. AI can be implemented on your website when your customers are interacting with your website. AI can be implemented in your call center when your customers are calling. AI can be implemented in your SMS channel when you are interacting with your customers through SMS. So there are many communication channels. Now, 5 communication channels, 5 use cases. These are 25 decisions, right? Which one is the right one? Sales through SMS, retention through call center, referrals through website. These are decisions that somebody has to take, and that is why we are believing one of the key success story drivers for us is helping our customers understand which channel, which use case is a good quick launch opportunity, knowing that the roadmap is exciting because we can put check marks in all these 25 cells. Those are decisions that someone doing for the very first time is struggling, right? So that's our view on this MIT report. We agree with the report findings and all of that. Of course, why wouldn't we? We have generated so much success, and it's also speaking to vendors are succeeding more often, all of that. So while this is in favor for us, I just want us to pause, think why this is true, and share our own thoughts on the expertise means this, purpose built means this, process and playbooks means this, and that's the way to scale this, right? So that's my summary and additional commentary on all of that. So I want to leave you with the summary slide. Think about the maturity of your technology. That report is saying purpose built is better. Think about the maturity and expertise of your people. Always augment your people with any expertise you can get, but more importantly follow those playbooks and process. And finally, think big, but have a surgical way of starting and generate that success story, which will pave the way for generating a lot of excitement and latching on to this amazing potential of AI. Brandon, with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vasu. As we look at if you've heard what was said today and you're interested in figuring out how you can get started to do this, let me try to make that a little bit more concrete. Our solution allows you to be able to take artificial intelligence and machine learning with a trusted partner who can help advise you through the process. We can make a difference on different parts of your funnel, going from getting new customers to keeping your existing customers to growing the wallet share of your existing customer base. Um, so if you're feeling pressure to be able to leverage AI for meaningful value creation in your company, the simplest on-ramp for our solution is our no-cost 4-week trial that uses your own data. And here's exactly what you would get. We would work with you to do a very light lift, export some data that we can take our models on. 4 weeks from when we've received your data, we're able to help you be able to identify who are your best customers, to look at some of the unique attributes of those best customers, to look at customer level predictions of both the value of that customer or the risk level of that customer. And we can put together a preliminary business case with what the costs would be and what benefits you would see in the ROI associated with that of deploying this solution within your company. And then also have an implementation roadmap to show when you can expect to start seeing that value. So if you'd like to see your at-risk accounts, to look at elastic price cohorts, best fit prospects, all grounded in your data, let us know. Reach out today. I've already had a conversation with one of you today on LinkedIn, and we've got a calendar invite set up for next week so we can go into more detail on your company. We'd love to schedule a scoping call, confirm that data handoff, and then kick off that 4-week sprint that then ends with an executive readout and a clear action plan. We're ready when you are. So thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Thanks, everyone.